flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start, I'd like to have just a moment of silence. It's the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor today. Just about this time, I believe, is when it happened. And there's a lot of guys still down there. Let's give it a moment. I was in the Navy, and I spent a lot of time on boats, and I can tell you, you can imagine what those people, those guys in the ships went through, and it was awful. Anyway, need to approve the agenda. I'd like to add an item, 8D, wine service approved with the Grange Hall right here, and make a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Give a second? Second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have one set of minutes to approve, November 16th, 2016. And has everyone had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 16, 2016, as written.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
I didn't have any changes.
Oh, I'm sorry. No changes.
No. Okay.
No changes. All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Now we got it. Correspondence. I have a River Cog letter. This is in connection with the Health Department's proposed legislation. And what they're looking to do, if you remember, if you were here last time, they'd like to reduce the number of health districts and make it mandatory that every town and every city belong to them. And their goal is to have it directed from the state level, and they're going to assess every town and city 1.5% of their annual budget as the fee for it. Our current health care with Haddam runs about $94,000 a year. Under the proposed plan, it would run about $553,000
For East Haddam?
for East Haddam. I'm sorry, $453,000, what am I saying? Bad enough. It's unreal. What COG did, they just went nuts, and every COG, Council of Government, they're all over Connecticut. We happen to be in the lower Connecticut River Valley COG. All the COGs are fighting it, and they put together a letter protesting this, and I'll read it for you very quickly. Lower Connecticut River Valley Council of Governments, River COG, strongly objects to the Connecticut Department of Public Health's proposed legislation to replace existing municipal health departments and regional health districts with 8 county health districts funded by municipal operating budgets. River COG's 17-member municipalities work together for the benefit of our residents and taxpayers. We're strong supporters of regional shared services when it makes sense for our municipalities. In this case, good Lord, let's turn the volume down a little bit. Somebody has a chimney fire somewhere. About that. Benefit our residents and taxpayers. We're strong supporters of regional shared services when it makes sense. In this case, we do not believe the proposed legislation makes sense. It fails on 2 accounts. First, the imposition of a spending floor that is well above the current municipal public health spending levels for most municipalities will put greater pressure on their already oversubscribed property tax that will further burden our property owners and businesses. Any regionalization should hold towns harmless and focus on realizing efficiencies in scale and cost, service and delivery. Second, the proposal has no clear linkage to improving public health or to successful public health service delivery. The size of municipal budgets is not a good metric of public health need and service effectiveness. Some municipalities may need help addressing public health challenges, but those issues should be remedied and tailored interventions that are linked to performance measures and positive health outcomes. Forcing municipalities to join health departments that only guarantee more expense is not the type of solution that Connecticut needs. They expressed some other concerns. I won't go to read the whole thing. And all 17 towns that have signed it, and it's gone up to Hartford. We will be going up there on the 14th. We're going to be meeting with the Commissioner of Health and hopefully expressing our dismay and our hopes that it won't occur. It's been proposed. Apparently it has the support of the governor, and the Commissioner seems to like it, so we're going to have to see where it goes. In many respects, it parallels what happened with probate court back about 5 years ago, when the state took it over and our probate costs just exploded. That's relatively small compared to what happens here. In any case, we are addressing it, and we're going to do what we can to avoid having this happen. First Selectmen's report. I've got a few things to touch on. The radio tower, our emergency services, our fire, police, our communications are abysmal right now in the town. And what we're doing is trying to develop a new system. The whole thing's been hanging on the state police putting up a tower up on Mount Parnassus, adjacent to the Harris property. If you go up there right now, you'll see that they've got quite an interesting tower going up, scheduled to be 180 feet high. And that's going to be the beginning of our being able to put a system together that really works for our police, our fire, our ambulances. It's already been budgeted, and it's just been held up by this particular tower. It's going in. Monday we went up to the DOT. They're proposing another bridge in town. I think every bridge in town is going to be rebuilt before they're finished. It's hard to imagine they all needed it so badly, but that's what's going to happen. And this is the Foxtown Road Bridge. It's adjacent to the Chapman Falls at Devil's Hop Yard. And what they have proposed is a very nice bridge. It's going to be stone faced. It's going to look pretty good. It'll fit right into the landscape. So that should be okay. I've been checking on Shanigan Road. They've got the gates up there. And they have gated the platforms that are up on the hillside that we were concerned with, that I was concerned with, as being unsafe so that you can't get into it. Eventually those are going to have to come down, and Shanigan will be open again all the way through. And one of the things we're going to have to look into is make certain that those platforms they created are safe. They had promised to put stones around the edges of them so that you couldn't drive off, and they haven't done that. It may be that they have to have access for doing the work that they're going to be doing from them, but I'm going to keep an eye on that and make certain that it is safe, either removed, get rid of those platforms so that they're not an issue, or make sure that they're properly remedied with stones and safety devices. Anyway, that's what I've got. Citizens' concerns. Do we have any citizens' concerns out there? Rob?
On the last subject, goals of blocking Shanigan Road off were to, what was the goal there? What were the goals?
First of all, to keep people away from those platforms, and secondly, to become a dumping ground. And the purpose of it was simply, we don't want it to be a dumping ground. And that was, they actually, Eversource had been pulling stuff out of there as fast as it was being dumped. And they were complaining about it, and they said, we got to do something. They actually had one of their drivers in there, and if some guy pulls in and he's getting ready to dump, And the Eversource guy goes over and says, "What are you doing?" He says, "What's it to you?" And the Eversource guy looked at him and said, "I got your picture, you and your license plate on my phone, and you drop that stuff and I'm going to turn you in." But it had become a thing, and from two standpoints: one is the safety, and the other is the dumping that was going on. It's a temporary blockage. It's going to be open again, and as quickly as they finish what they're doing, and we are going to insist that those platforms be made safe before they leave. That, I could just see somebody driving off. First time I drove up there, I was almost afraid to turn around because you really couldn't tell where the edge was. And you go over the edge ever so slightly, you're not going to come back. It wasn't good. Any other concerns? Okay. Moving on. Shagbark project discussion. A couple of things on that. I've been up talking to them again, and what they indicated was that Kenyon, who is their financial guru, has pulled the plug on them and doesn't want to be part of it. I said, "What are you going to do? You've got a contract, and how are you going to meet it?" They said, "Well, we've got a couple of other financiers we're dealing with right now. We expect to have the money in place. The project development time is estimated to be between 4 and 6 months. They're expected to be delivering electricity to the town by June 10th. They still have time to do that, and they feel comfortable and confident that they will be doing it. There's been no additional expenses to the town. That hasn't changed at all. And it's just something we've got to keep an eye on, see what's happening."
If they do not meet the deadline, is there any type of recourse we get for to get our money back?
Yes. We can cancel our contract. They're due to have it on the 10th of June, and on the 10th of June, we may commence proceedings to cancel the contract. Now, the only thing they do have is force majeure, which is anything which is a major storm, a major crisis that doesn't allow them to continue work on it. The contract will be extended by that period of time. Our expenses to date are about $13,300, and we certainly would have recourse to recovering that from them. It would be a body blow to Shagbark. I don't know that I am an enthusiast for solar power, but given where we are, I'd rather that didn't happen for them.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to make sure.
But we do have recourse. Our recourse commences at the 10th of June, 2017. And they're aware of that too. I had to kind of instruct them and bring them back to the contract because they were a little confused about the dates on it. But they ended up agreeing that that was correct. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Got my fingers crossed. Goodspeed Airport easement. We have been given a draft from Gateway, so I think you'll see that in your packet there. It's not our document, it's simply a draft. So if anybody wants a copy, they have to go back to Gateway to get it. We're not at liberty to release it. Basically, in response to the letter that I wrote when we had been down there to visit with them and talk about our discomfort with what we saw in the original document, they read through it. They not only gave us everything we asked, they went beyond that. They were remarkably generous. I can't say enough good things about Tim Mellon and what he's willing to go along with. And this is I've got it all marked up. Our basic concerns in the letter were, first of all, a question, the way it was written originally, it sounded as if regardless of who owned the property, should it cease to be an aircraft runway of a airport, whoever owned the property still would not be permitted to let people on it. And that being the one beautiful opportunity to view the river and to be on the river, that troubled us. And with the scenic easement on it, there was very little that could be done with the property. So we said, you know, we'd like to see you let people on it. We'd like, should the owner be willing to do that? We'd like to perhaps have a educational center. We'd like to see some recreation going on it. We'd like to see perhaps a museum and some people to use boats and have it. He came back and gave us far more than we ever had asked for. We were concerned with the treatment plant, whether or not we'd be able to get onto the airport property if we had to service the treatment plant. And all of those things in this document are noted, and I mean, okay, this is Jimmy's notes, okay with 3 question marks. Okay, again with 3 questions, okay with 2, okay, everything, what we asked and more, right down the line.
Whose
So,
notes are those?
these were Jimmy's notes. He and I both went through this, reading and looking at Jimmy Ventures. And I asked him to look at it in terms of what we want. He's been part of the team going down there. And it's a very good document. I'm very comfortable with it. It still needs to be finalized.
Quick question I had though. Do we, once the easement's in place, we can then put it, allow people in for kayaking?
No.
It's not until it ceases to be an airport. I really didn't get that, but I read that and I tried to determine.
Okay, that's where I was going to go next.
That's on C.
So long as it's an airport,
Yeah,
that is federally restricted.
right. That's
No
what I
people
thought.
on the property. Only people who have business there. Should it cease to be an airport, and my own opinion is that it will cease to be an airport in due course. At that point, the fences come down, whoever owns the property has the right to permit access or not. Under the original, it had the appearance that he couldn't even permit access when the easement was being proposed. Nobody would be allowed on the property. We came back and said, we really don't like that. We don't know who's going to own it. The state may own it. The town might end up owning it. And we want to know that there could be recreation, there could be use of it. He comes back, not only the boardwalks that we'd asked for, and the recreation on it, and athletic fields, and we had talked about kayaks, possibly being able to operate kayaks off of it. He comes back and he says, not only will you do that, we'll let you put 10 piers in, 20 feet long. He says, my only restrictions are that they be kayaks, canoes, and boats under 10 feet long, or under 12 feet long.
But at that point, they no longer own the property. Right? It doesn't happen until they don't own the property,
No.
or until they stop using it as an airport.
When they stop using the airport.
Okay, they can still own it, and
Yeah.
we get that. Okay.
But they have permission now, and they can allow these things to happen.
Okay.
Whoever happens to own it. To be honest, you put the easements on it, the value of the land is going to go right down to almost nothing.
Because you can't get rid of the easements.
Yeah, the easement is locked in.
Right. Yeah, it says in perpetuity. That I read. I wasn't clear to me when we gained the use though. That was all I
Only
asked.
when the owner of the property was willing to permit you onto the property. And if I buy it, for whatever reason, I don't know why I do that, but if I bought it and I didn't want you on it, I could say, no, you can't trust me. I don't want anybody on it. But I could also say, yeah, let the town use it as a park. Let them use it as a place for people to get out and walk and enjoy the river.
So, but we don't have to approve this.
No,
So
this
this
has
is
nothing to do with
just
us.
Us.
Yeah.
We are an
Yeah.
interested party, and we intervened as an interested party, and he was good enough and gracious enough to understand what we were concerned with and deal with it, and deal with it in a very positive manner.
No, the next question is, what does this do to the value that we're assessing the property at? You mentioned that with an easement, the value of the property is decreasing. Are we still going to collect the same amount of taxes on the
For
property?
the moment, yes, because it's an airport. Once it ceases to be an airport, we're going to have to be revaluing it
Because it talks about for a transfer of $1 somewhere.
Yeah.
I read that.
to the state or to some
So
other.
the state is not gaining ownership of this
No.
land. It's not gaining ownership. It's just getting the conservation easement. It will still be owned by Mellon's LLC.
Yep.
And we will continue to tax it at
As
the
an
same
airport.
rate we're taxing it now.
No changes.
Until.
Until such times as it ceases to be at an airport.
And then we will reassess it,
We have to reassess it.
reappraise it, and then we'll tax it appropriately at that time.
Exactly.
So we're not losing any tax dollars by this, okay.
Right now.
Not for the moment. Somewhere in the future, I'd be enthusiastic for the town to acquire that
Yeah.
property if it became available. I think it would be a tremendous asset.
And we would still be held to the conservation easement that he's placed on it, even once it's owned by the town.
This is in perpetuity, forever and ever. But it's coming along very nicely. It's come our way. We've been successful in what we did, and I'm very enthusiastic about it right now. Anyway. Let's see what I got here.
Yeah, at some point, it's not gonna be, or at some point, it's not gonna be profitable, it's not gonna be safe, or that's not gonna last forever.
I'm inclined to agree with you. How long it's gonna take to
Who
buy
knows?
there, that's another question.
Yeah,
We've got some information here. We had an appraisal done of the town property. And
Who did that? I mean, so who authorized the appraisal? I'm just
the
curious.
town did.
I didn't know we were.
We requested an appraisal.
yeah, if I remember, I think we set a limit for Bob Kastner to spend up to a certain amount.
It's through the
I
economic
don't know,
development
it
commission.
was a while ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 'cause I just signed a check 2 weeks ago for the second part of the payment. I think it started well over a year, even before you joined the board.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Been going a while.
It might have been before. It was a while when the EDC requested it.
Okay, the long and the short of it, somewhat disappointing. They appraised the land that the town office is on, the garage, the river house, for $840,000. They assessed the river house and the town office, which for about $185,000. They made it pretty clear that without demolishing the garage in there, nobody would really look at it, and particularly because there's some question of contamination under the floor of the garage. They said, you've really got to demolish the garage, you really have to deal with that contamination if it is there. And what it does, by the time you run all the numbers, it nets out to about $625,000 value for the property. I had always been optimistic that it was going to be quite a bit higher than that. But that's what their appraisal. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But one of the key things that they said was if we're going to have anything developed there, if we're going to have somebody come in, before they're going to do it, we're going to have to be able to present them with clean property. And that means the cost of demolishing that garage and dealing with contamination.
As a commercial property owner, was prior commercial property owner, I'm not surprised. You're going to expect that with the garage, that I have behind the garage, is there remediation. Nobody's going to come in, nobody's bank is going to give a note with any chance that there's any oil tanks, or any type of contamination. Nobody will touch it. That's why we'll have to remediate and just have a clean analysis. But one thing I always thought that we would maintain ownership of the property and give a pad lease on it.
We truly don't know what we're going to do yet, and that may be how we end up. But nonetheless, the property's got to be clean before we.
For sure it's going to be remediated.
That had come up in conversation when we were talking about that money from the heritage property. Remember?
Yeah.
Using it for that instead of for what was it?
There might even be some federal money if it can get considered a brownfield, because it was a state garage. So a lot of times contamination goes back prior ownership. It keeps the chain of lineage. And that was something I was concerned of. You should clean up with that. So we might be able to go after the state on that.
There's some hope of that. What I've heard, this is rumor down through 30 years of being involved one way or another and thinking about it, was it was herbicides, and Agent Orange is mentioned, but I'm not sure if that's actually what it was, that the state used way back when to maintain the size of the roads, and that it was being stored in that garage, and that's what the largest part of the contamination is. Now, there might well be oil and gasoline and other petroleum products involved as well, but we really don't know what's under it.
Yeah, you get your series one, you get your engineer, they'll find everything that's been in there, trust me.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
get a report back like about this thick for several thousands of dollars.
Now, there is an interesting aspect to it. I bought, or was in the process, actually closed on a property up in Agawam, Mass, a major property on the river. And then someone discovered a letter in the town office somewhere indicating nickel sulfonate, which was used in the building for a while, was bubbling out of the ground. It killed the deal. We closed contingent upon a clean bill of health. The guy who ended up buying it was a contractor. And what I heard later was that he had discovered that because the bedrock going down to the river, there was a relatively thin layer of soil on it, and it was all pretty much flush clean, and the property was okay. It was finally inspected. We may find the same sort of thing here. We've got the bedrock going down to the river. We may find that the flushing of, 50 years has cleaned it out. I don't know. That's something that remains to be discovered. But it is a matter of substantial interest. Anyway, any questions or any comments on that?
No, he did a good thorough job, it was good reading.
Yeah.
Money was a little disappointed, but I wasn't too surprised with what he stated in there.
But, I had hoped it would be somewhat higher than that. I think most people had, it just wasn't. Okay, boards and commission changes, AB, we just don't have anything there tonight. There are a couple pending, but they're not here. And tax refunds, we do have one, and I'm going to make a motion that we award a tax refund in the amount as presented, $491.95 to Nissan Infiniti LT. Is there a second? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, the 8D which we added, wine service approval. We have a request from Colleen Shaddix, and it's the Regional Youth Adult Social Action. We're going to have a vigil, and they want to be able to have some mulled wine here. That seems like it's well within bounds. And I'm going to make a motion to approve wine service at the Grange Hall for the Human Right Vigil on December 10th, 2016. Any second on that?
Second,
Any discussion?
what's mulled wine?
Spiced, herbs, it can be a lot of different things, but you basically heat it with something to add a flavor and a quality to it. It could be herbal, it could be spicy, it could be even sweet.
So
Usually,
regional, this is a regional youth adult social,
but it's out of East Haddam, 22 Warner Road is where she's from.
right, but I'm just, I guess I was more concerned with the fact that the youth part of it serves.
It's youth adult is
I don't
has
know what
part.
that means.
I don't either, but apparently it is people of age. We're not going to be serving liquor or alcohol to anyone who's not permitted to have it.
And she has appropriate insurance for the cover, right,
Yeah, they
court document.
yeah, everything's there.
Perfect.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Public comment again. Anything from the public?
Quick question on the CE at Goodspeed. Who requested the CE, conservation easement? Was that Mellon?
Mellon himself initiated this. He's done it up and down the river. Been very generous in the process and usually after the fact.
What, if he, typically when you put a CE on property, the value, if it's open space, it doesn't change, but in this town anyway, but in other towns, the value would be reduced. What is the advantage to him to put the CE on? Is there any idea?
Tim, and the reports that I get, and it seems to be legitimate, is he just loves the river. He's been protecting it all up and down the river from one town to the next to the next. He acquired considerable property on the river. He wanted an airport because he flew. I have heard that he's not been able to pass his medical, that he may not be flying in the future. That may be part of the loss of interest. But his primary interest has been protecting the river. He thinks it's a beautiful river and it needs protection. And as I say, he's been quite generous in the process. I can't find any fault. I can't find anything to fault him. And he, when we expressed our concerns in the manner in which it had been written, he responded very quickly, very positively, and gave us far more than we had asked for. That's hard to fight with.
And I assume there's no further legal actions that he's taking at this point. Those are all finished.
Not with us. Not with us. I think that's behind us now, and that's where it belongs. Any other comment? Any other questions? Okay, a couple of selectmen's discussion items. We do have a town meeting, December 13th. We included the last Board of Selectmen's meeting, and hopefully we'll have people there 8 p.m. at the town meeting hall next door. And there's a proclamation, if you're looking there, and this is an interesting item. Johnny Blashick, who has certainly been a major part of this town for many, many years, is going to take his vows, and he's going to become a Trappist monk. And Sunday, December 18th, at St. Bridget's, from 3 to 6, they're going to have a service, an open house to send him off. And I'm certainly going to be there and enjoy it. I know John, I think from the first time he ran, he found me in a would-be foundation that I was digging by hand in my house. I look up and there's Ed Gubbins and Johnny Blashick, and I still got the ruler they gave me, and he was running to be the first selectman for the first time, back in 1983, a long way back. I voted for him then, and I think I voted for him every time he ran. I like Johnny. And I'd certainly like to have him sent off in good order. What I am planning to do, if you look, there's a proclamation, and we put together what we could. I would ask you, Ernie, to review that, and maybe you could.
Yeah, I'll have some more. I talked with Father Greg last night, and he's going to supply some additional service that he supplied to the community.
I know it's way beyond what we have here.
I asked Father Greg to do by the end of the day tomorrow. If not, he's only to
This is
beat him
rough,
up. Yes.
what I could think.
Yeah. No, you did good. You did good. So I'll get that to you. It was good you included. I brought it to bring to it. Just reiterate what Emmett said. It's everybody's invited, sponsored by the Knights of Columbus and the Ladies Guild at St. Bridget's Marian Hall. Everybody can come in and thank John for his services.
I mean, he's done, to my experience, he's done so much for this town through the years, served us in so many ways, and my understanding is that he can't take anything with him.
Nope. So
the proclamation, when it's completed, and he has it, will probably remain with his family, but it's certainly something that would be of value and of meaning to them. And I would ask one other thing. As I laid it out here, I and Deb signed it. Would you both want to be the signatories on that?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll set it up that way for you.
Sure.
And if you get that squared away, and we'll get it together, somehow we'll get it to you so you can sign it.
Okay.
I do have one question going on from there. The next meeting we have is December 21st. There's probably not going to be a whole lot on the agenda. It's right next to Christmas and a bunch of other things. And my recommendation would be that we cancel it and not schedule it. And I just wonder what your opinions might be.
I'm good with it.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All in favor?
Is there a motion or?
Not as such, but we're all in favor.
Well, just make a motion.
Second. And I'll make a motion that we not have a December 21st, 2016 meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And do you have anything else?
I just want to, do we have a rough date of when we'll have our Saturday meetings are we still looking at the first?
I told you,
Weekend
it's
of
either gonna be the 11th or 18th.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be both of them on the
Okay.
calendar,
Well, when's
but.
the school vacation? There's a long weekend.
But here's, my thought, you have one on the 11th,
Right.
you go through everything.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need to decide who you wanna bring in, and some could come on like the following Tuesday. So my thoughts were the Saturday, the Tuesday, and then the Saturday, and then your regular selectmen's meeting if you need to. So I'm hoping to keep it to like four meetings, maybe. But it all depends on how the budgets come in. When we see how the budget comes in, if there's a lot for discussion, you might need, a few more people.
Didn't we bring everyone in on Saturday? I thought, more or less, most people came in
You're
on
right,
Saturday.
on Saturday.
To the extent that we can.
Yeah, a few straggled in the following week.
Yeah, we brought some in, but if Saturday's your guys' first meeting, like Emmett might decide to bring in, you obviously bring in public works, you obviously bring in the fire department, the libraries, but if there's other, ones that you don't normally bring in, you guys might decide on Saturday, once you're discussing the budget, that, geez, I really like to see them, I really like to talk to them.
So when do we
So that
get
gives
the
me time
budget?
to
When do we
schedule.
get the first draft of the budget?
You won't get it till the beginning of February, because our budgets aren't even due until
Okay,
like
so
second week in January, so.
we get it at a meeting, or do we get it separately? or-
Usually you get it like your first meeting in February.
So the first time we're not gonna see it, I guess was who's asking till the 11th.
No, I don't want that. Like, I
Right,
want
I know.
to see it.
But that's what you were
Right,
asking.
that's what I'm trying to,
Yeah,
yes, that's exactly.
Like your first meeting in February.
I thought we got it beforehand, didn't we?
Yeah, well, if we get it on the 7th,
Yeah.
You get your first meeting in February, and then you meet
Our first
the
selectmen's meeting? Or
Yes,
which would be
The
the
8th, yeah.
Oh, the 8th.
right. And then if you meet like the 11th, that following Tuesday, and then the 18th. I think those are the Saturday, Tuesday,
It's not the first?
and Saturday.
Oh, that's right, it's gonna be the first. Right, you're right.
February
Wednesday's
1st? Yeah, I don't have a calendar.
First and 15th of the month would be
So,
our
the first,
and we canceled stuff, didn't we?
did we get?
No, you didn't
Okay.
cancel one.
That's why I'm not gonna be at that. I thought I was.
You're not gonna get the 1st of February.
Right. I wasn't sure if weren't you not gonna be here at the first either?
No, I'm not gonna be there the 18th.
I thought it was January.
January 18th.
Oh, okay. The February 1st meeting, fine, it's not gonna,
I thought.
Yeah, you're on vacation. right?
yes, yep.
There
Did
we
we
go.
cancel? I thought we did.
No, you didn't, you only canceled the one in July. The one after, the day after the 4th
Then
of
we
July.
talked about it.
You said you would still have it, and if there was no business, you'd cancel it, or you
So
could
the
have a special
question
meeting.
is,
So you'll get it at the beginning of February, that first meeting in February, and Vern, if you're gone, we'll just catch up with you.
When do you
so
get
can
back?
see it.
I believe we're probably the 4th or the 5th will be on the weekend, so we'll be back by business Monday, the
well,
6th.
because my question is, we should set up a meeting for during the week, like, I'd like to have a meeting just to talk about the budget
Yep.
in general, and what our thoughts are on calling people in.
Mhm.
Because Saturday is where I want people to come in, I
Right.
don't want to debate on a
Right.
Saturday.
When we get closer, we'll set that up. I mean, right now, it'd be very difficult to, be pure speculation on what we might be able to do or not.
Well, no. That would be pure speculation on whether we
Because I
would
have no
have,
idea what I'm gonna be doing in February at this point.
you're gonna be doing the budget.
Oh, I know that.
Oh,
But beyond that, I do hope there's more to life than just that. May not be.
When you guys set your meetings, I also have to check to make sure finance is available, and all of the people are there that can
You have to
answer some of the
coordinate.
questions that I can't answer, so I can't very well speak for them tonight.
Okay, so I'll at least put it on my calendar 11th and 18th as,
And then the Tuesday in between.
can I request, that's Valentine's Day the 14th.
Oh, it is?
I think we had this discussion last year.
I don't know Valentine's Day is a Saturday. Remember we had it?
Yeah.
We did have it on Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
but that was during the day, my evening was still, evening was still
All right.
there.
We only do Tuesdays because that's the late night for,
Okay.
for everybody, and it's like you're not bringing staff in,
All
and
right.
it's not working, but, I mean, we can do the,
Oh, that's fine then, we'll leave it that then.
Celebrate the 15th.
I'll look at the schedule on the 15th, I'll see if the 15th is open Wednesday,
We usually go to the club, so.
because you guys can't start before 4:30.
15th is Board of Selectmen. First and 15th.
Yeah,
Well, you can discuss it, you can have them come to the Board of Selectmen meeting then, if you already
You
have
can
one.
do that, yeah,
You could do that.
just extend it a bit.
I want to say we were down in the 20s last year.
well, let's see.
The dates, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, they're trying to move the budget a little earlier.
I know Mark then, but you're right, Valentine's Day was Saturday.
So I think we could.
But you met till like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Why did we get pizza?
And we always usually meet at the town office annex, only because, like right here, there's no printers, there's no, like, we can't print anything, we can't do, you know, we can't do anything, so we meet at the annex. So this way, when we need further information, it's easy to run across, to get it, to print something, to, you know, Cindy works the formulas, it's easier to gather those.
Okay. We beat it to death?
I don't think we have a resolution, if that's okay.
No.
For now.
Okay, motion adjourned,
Second.
Second, oh,
all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
There we go, thank you, good night.
Good job, thank you.